grenade paw? How is your grenade paw related to you?
She said in an authoritative tone. What? We're continuing? It'd be stupid if we stopped here. I hurriedly complied, opening the window indicated by Asana. I thought it out the option buried deep within the menu. Because of the hurried start, there was no romantic mood to speak of. Sitting on the bed, which was slightly too small for the two, I thought it out. We slowly did as much as the system would allow. The dim blue moonlight filtered through the window, casting complex shadows on the bed. Since Salemburg has no marketplace, the townspeople disappear at night. The only thing that I could hear was the faint whispering of the lake and my alarm-like heartbeat, which seems to echo around the room. By this time, Asana and I had removed all of our clothing. We had been kneeling on the bed in front of one another for about 2.5 minutes. I couldn't read Asana's expression as she balled up her fists on her knees and looked down. I thought that I should probably be the first one and to take the first action in this situation, but not being able to predict the outcomes of any of my choices. I sat in petrified silence. I considered what would happen if I were to yell out, "Sorry!" and re-equipped minimal clothing before escaping out of the bedroom. Would she say, "I guess it can't be helped," and forgive me when we meet again tomorrow? There's no way she would. Remembering back to the distant past, I was only 14 the first time that I ever logged into SAO, the winter of 8th grade. I don't want to really recall how I was at the time, but I sacrificed all of the sexual energy that starts to awaken in all in order to immerse myself into games. As a result, I had never been in a situation where I would be alone with a girl in her room. Obviously, I had also never been naked with a girl before. To tell the truth, I would have liked for Asuna, who I thought was probably a few years older than me, and thus had expertise in this area, to take the lead. However, it seemed that everyone in SAO, including her, viewed me as I really was. Since I had never denied any of it, there's no way that I could say to her in this situation, "Sorry, but I'm actually." I strengthened my resolve. Even if I didn't have the knowledge or the experience, I had never loved or had felt such intense feelings for someone like I had for Asana. Ever since SAO started, there were numerous times when I was in a situation where I told myself, "You can't run away from it." But here, I had to muster up great willpower in that as I extended my right hand and moved my body forward. My fingertips softly touched the gentle curve that was Asana's shoulder. Her body quivered sharply. I slowly traced a path from the line of her collarbone to the nape of her neck. Mm. Asana let out a soft moan as her eyes closed. The blood rushed to her cheek, her brows furrowed. For some time, I watched Asana's responses in secret delight as I touched her all over the place. Slightly excited by her fresh reactions, I went a bit overboard as I kept my fingertip at a point where I was just barely touching her, needed to slowly glide smoothly across her skin. I crawled down her arms, which were firmly hiding both breasts, circled around her stomach, and up her arms again. Ah, ah. Every time my finger moved, Asana's body would shake and a soft moan would leak out. After caressing her entire body, I put my right hand's finger under her small chin and lifted her head up. With my left index finger, I diligently traced her wet, shining cherry colored lips. No, not just your finger. Asaf opened her eyes slightly and looked at me pleadingly. Kiss me. I silently moved my face closer. Asana's lips parted slightly, as if they could not wait any longer, but instead of fastening our lips together, I softly poked her lower lip with the tip of my tongue. As if seeking me out, Asana stuck out her tongue, but I restrained myself her before softly touching her with the tip of my tongue. Ah, ah. Asana let out an irritated sound of both anticipation and need as I abruptly plunged my tongue into her mouth. Violently swished my tongue around. The tactile senses in SAOR, just like the sense of taste, pre-programmed and activated in accordance to the situation. When you consider this, and the only conclusion draw is that the feeling of a deep kiss must have been programmed in. Well, it's not like I've ever really experienced that in real life, but as indescribably bewitching feeling assaulted my nerves. My tongue entwined Asana's, and I forcefully sucked on it as I felt all the strength go out of her body. Her eyes were moist and dim, and she was breathing erratically as I took my tongue out of her mouth and proceeded to lick down her neck and the hollow of her collarbone. When I eventually reached the soft valleys that were the top of her breasts, which had been hidden up until now, and twitched, her arms gripped tighter together as she shook her head from side to side. Asuna, move your arms. But I want to see your breasts, Asuna.
What the fuck?
Together, pulled them apart, licked, and sucked my way toward the peak of the white breast that was gradually being revealed. Ah, no. Asuna's arms were finally at her sides as her twin peaks were revealed to my eyes. The swells, which were usually hidden by the loose fitting knight's clothing and breastplate, were bigger than I had imagined, full and protruding sharply forward, as their tips were a pair of nipples, which were just difficult to distinguish from the surrounding area, lay in a cone-shaped form. Regrettably, the entire room was currently bathed in the blue glow of the moonlight, and Asuna, turn on the light. What? No, don't! Having rejected their Having accepted the rejection of my request, I sucked her left nipple into my mouth. Ignoring the shrill voice that Asuna let out at the sudden attack, I chewed on the hard nub with my lips as my tongue rolled tip. Ah, no, no, no. I firmly held Asuna's right hand that tried to push me away as she cried out, while her body convulsed and moved my left hand to the other breast. I squeezed her peak between my fingers, then gently used the nail of my index finger to stimulate the tip of her nipple. As I tortured both breasts, Asuna's convulsions and sweet cries rose in intensity, going a bit I bit down on the protruding object in my mouth and somewhat violently began to chew on it, while at the same time, thumb and index finger of my left hand painfully twisted the other nipple. Ah, 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 no, no. Ah. Asana's body suddenly stiffened. Her arms, which now encircled the back of my head, tightened their grip. No, uh, 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 just with my breast. I'm come. She was unable to speak after that high-pitched cry from the depths of her throat. Asana twitched, and her body jumped once before collapsing against me. She was still breathing heavily. Her body intermittently convulsed slightly. Asana, just now. No, it's so embarrassing. I've never had anything happen until now. Until now. Asana tucked her body, looked down in an embarrassed manner. It's nothing at all. Tell me. I moved my left hand over to Asana's left breast as she leaned against me and grasped her nipple before pulling on it. No, stop. No more with the breasts. What do you mean by until now? Uh, spoke haltingly in a crying voice that was once again mixed with sweet moans about the coat off. After I learned about it, I did it a couple of times alone. What did you do? Uh, while thinking about Kirito, played with breasts and d- down below. Talking about her own fantasies seemed to have increased Asana's masochistic side. Her breathing was gradually becoming ragged as she clung to me. Down below? Like, right here? I gently moved the hand that had been abusing her breast down. I stroked her tense stomach, then ever so slowly moved in that direction. I went over the slight swell of her abdomen. Fingertip reached the entrance of the two mouths. As her body shook. Ah, no! I used to stimulate the area around her vagina while taking care to touch the center. I enjoyed the action of squeezing the two mouths and pulling them apart. Ah, ah, ah. Mm.
God.
Asana knelt down, putting both of her arms around me, and moaned while burying her face in my neck. Moved about, causing her body to jump and twitch. There. No. That voice gradually, as she shook her head, wiggled her. That can't. Thinking that I was teasing her too much, I gradually moved my middle finger towards the center. Mm-hmm. Ah! Let out a remarkably loud cry. My finger was a slimy sensation. That place was so hot, moist, and indescribably soft that I involuntarily started with two fingers. Ah, no, no, Asuna cried out, and her body started to shake and jump. Without regard for that, I needed the little knob that was peeking from the top of the slit with my thumb while spreading it open with two fingers. Ah, ah, ah. It's appeared that Asuna could no longer speak as she dug her nails into my arched her back as far as she ah, ah, no, I can't take it anymore. But in another sense, I was also at my limit. I wanted to see every single part of Asuna so badly that I pushed her down onto the bed and grabbed her legs, spreading them apart. Huh? What? Asuna came out of a hazy state and bucked her body to escape as she realized that she was in an extremely embarrassing position. But there was no way I'm going to loosen my grip now.
Ew.
Kirito,
That's disgusting.
don't look so closely. Asuna. I raised my head and looked steadily into Asuna's eyes. Should we turn on the light? No! Asuna forcefully rejected my suggestion as she shook her crimson red face. Giving up, I devoted myself to examining Asuna's hidden place. The soft and fluffy pubes were pure white and smooth without a single hair growing there. They, rather than a preference of the developers, a limitation of itself. Hair type objects are of the extremely heavy category. As a result, aside from hair on the head and beards, there was absolutely no hair anywhere. The bodies of the SAO players. In between the two smooth mounds, a single slit, and further into that were the light colored folds. From time to time, a clear fluid dripped out of asanas before turning into beads of light and disappearing. Whether it was from embarrassment or loss of strength, Asuna had stopped struggling, so I took my hand off her right foot and slowly spread the slit open. Asuna's eyes turned vacant as she moaned softly. Inside the slit, compared to the information that I had received from the net in the real world, was an unusually simple line with what I thought was peach color running smoothly on the inside and bottom. The vaginal opening, which tirelessly produced clear fluid, was quietly throbbing, and in the upper part, where the slit closed together, a little protrusion peeked its head out. Within SAO, the male players must have at least once or twice racked their brains in wondering what that part of the female looked like, but I was experiencing a sort of emotion, having just discovered the answer to this question. Of course, in my own lower half, there was also a certain thing which, having swelled to its limits, was seeking release. This was the first that it had become like time for exposition. There is a somewhat interesting story concerning all this. I apologize for digressing, but when SAO was under development, the Argus company had an internal closed alpha test phase. They realized players would have use for it would not be necessary to objectify it. However, in reality, they found that most of the male testers would experience a certain amount of severe anxiety. Even so, while there was no problem playing for several hours, when they conducted consecutive tests over a 48-hour period, they found that most of the male testers this trial period were unable to stand not having their genitals and gave up. So it was from the beta testing phase, the genital implemented out of necessity. It seems that this is also part of the reason why SAO players are not allowed to change characters' genders. However, even if even if you had your genital, the question that I had prior to the official game's start of the game, meaning before the incident, was whether or not be anxiety over the lack of proper function. I myself agonized repeatedly on multiple occasions over the inability to release my pent up. But now I saw that if the ethics code award of functionality, probably even ejaculation, was full, while feeling like I had missed out on by not knowing now. At this point, I faced a new question. Having realized the ethics code release function basically meant that online virtual sex had been planned to release with the release of the game. SAO had many underage players such as myself, so no matter how this function was sure to cause a lot of social outcry and fuck it, I still can't take it. They're underage. Uh, they're this is worse than fucking two blades at once. No, two of you. Anyway, on to the fucking story. While teasing Asana's cute slit with my fingertip, I raised my head and posed that very question. Uh, uh, what? Though she had a spaced out look in her silky eyes, and her answer was punctuated by her heavy breathing. This position kicked in as she answered me. Huh, that's. They plan to use SAO's system in order to provide a personal sex service. We're probably linked with that function. Ah, I see. In other words, it's probably one of those delicate arrangements. Well, enough with the chit chat. I used my left hand to asana up as wide as possible. Ah, he wasn't immobilized anymore, but Asana had let out a sweet cry with both of her legs spread wide into the air. I brought my face close and gently pushed my tongue toward the little hole in the center. Ah! Asana shook her head from side to side as she cried out. I softly stimulated the entrance to that hole with my tongue as I pushed my. No, not that. Every time Asana convulsed, a large amount of fluid would make a sticky sound on my tongue as it leaked out of her vagina. Having pushed my tongue into her hole and enjoyed the feeling of her constricting around me, I pushed myself up over Asana. I was already swollen to my limit. It felt like I would end up coming if I continued to explore Asuna's body anymore. While softly planning a pert nipple, I covered Asana's lips with my own and softly whispered, Asana, can I? Uh, uh. Asana nodded vigorously as she let out a hot breath. Yes, make me full with your thing, Kirito. Feeling slightly dizzy at the thought of having that straight-laced invisible warrior tell me that with such a tearful face, I pressed myself against Asana's moistness. My penis caught on the entrance of her vagina as I moved it up and down. Ah, 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 ah. Mm. Mm. Asana firmly gripped my shoulders with her arms as she squeezed her eyes closed and furrowed her eyebrows. Even in the pale blue dark, I could see that her whole body was flushed and beads of sweat shined everywhere. When I placed my hands at Asana's sides, her hips moved slightly forward. I felt a slight resistance, but with a popping sensation, half of my penis was swallowed up inside of Asana. Ah, ah. Even with just that, Asana let out a scream as she arched her body to its limit. At the same time, my breath caught, and I felt a numbness spreading from my penis to my body. Having pushed my entire length into Asana, I let my desires take over as I continued to penetrate her bit by bit. Asana continued to scream as she continued to vigorously shake her head while her body shook. Although I briefly wondered if it hurt, I was no longer able to stop my hips from moving as my penis continued to plunge into Asana's deepest parts with a wet slapping noise. Eventually, my penis pushed all the way into the roots of Asana's vagina. While she was the woman whom I knew the best and loved the most, the crazy thought that I was deep inside Aincrad's top idol at this moment was spinning around my mind, making me go crazy. I somehow managed to calm my breathing as I put my mouth close to Asana's ear and said, It's all inside. No, so hot. I'm going to melt. Asana answered me in a thin, high voice as she shook her head. Kirito, so much of you inside me. Ah, ah. I also felt like melting from the incredible heat that I was experiencing. My penis, which was tightly gripped by Hasana, was continuously sending heat waves up my back that exploded into fireworks in my head. Ah, 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 ah. I was aware of Asana's moans becoming higher and higher as I was immobilized, struggling against the sensations that threatened to overwhelm me. As if in anticipation, her slit also continued to tightly massage me with its convulsions. Uh, no way, I'm again. Asuna's voice, which sounded as if she was becoming delirious from the heat, was changing into a meltingly sweet sound. And no, again, I'm coming. Ah, it threw her head back with a jerk and ah, screaming loudly. Asuna climaxed for the second time. At the same time, my penis was squeezed with an incredible pressure. And to my horror, I felt a raging sense boiling up inside me seeking release. Two exclamation point marks within quotation marks. Also, where the fuck is Gimli? Uh, okay, well, Gimli's not here. Oh well, that's a shame. Anyway, back to the story. I bit my lip and fought against that feeling, supported by the thought that I couldn't relax when we hadn't even reciprocated once. I was somehow able to quell the urge. Panting heavily, I embraced Asuna's body, which was limp from orgasm. I knew I didn't have much time left, so I violently pulled all the way back to the opening of her vagina before pushing in all the way in. Thrust. Smack. Our bodily fluids flew about. Ah! Asuna's eyes flew open as she let out a shriek. No, if you do that, I'm gonna go crazy. I was once again forced to stop while deep inside of Asuna. The hot, soft sensation surrounded me. Throbbing of the folds penetrated my entire being. Asuna had come several times already, and if we stayed like this, I would eventually end up coming. But I didn't feel like that'd be a very good way to finish. So, after thinking for a moment, I gently began shifting my body. Huh? Lifting up a drowsy looking Asuna's body, I moved underneath. Eventually, the two of us switched positions, with me on my back and Asuna in a mounted position on top of me. That's what sort of position she was in. Her face turned even redder as she shook her head from side to side. No, this is embarrassing. Asuna, you try moving. What? Okay. Asuna blushed shyly as she nodded, began to gently rock her body. I'm sorry that I'm the only one feeling good, Kirito. You can come too. A sticky sound was coming from the slit. Pierced by my penis. Asuna's movements were minimal, but the powerfully numbing feeling was spreading through my body again. Right when I thought, at this rate, I'm going to come right away. Her voice was once again mixed with the sound of arousal. Asuna bit down on the fingers of her right hand as she moved her hips up and down. Why am I like this? Like this? The colored hair flew into the air every time she shook her head. Beads of sweat also flew about, turning into light before disappearing. I'm sorry, Kirito. I'm coming. Asuna threw her body back while drawing out the last part of her sentence as she violently convulsed 2, 3 times. Her breasts, which were sticking out in front of her, danced in time with those motions. I was in no position to pause or admire the sight of Asuna close, and her teeth gritted together, looking incredibly cute, yet horribly lewd, all at the same time. As Asuna's vagina gripped my penis tightly, I was once again assaulted with the powerful urge to come. Thinking that I wouldn't be able to resist it this time, I instinctively pushed up into Asuna's core with abandon. Grabbing her hips with my hands, I shoved my hard penis in her as far as I could before pulling out again. Ah, ah. Right after coming, all Asana could do was frantically writhe about. I took her hand, which was extended toward me, and linked our fingers together. Every time I stirred up Asana's insides, our overflowing juices would fly about as the place of our joining melted in endless heat. Ah, amazing, amazing. Her bouncing breasts also sent large amounts of sweat flying about. Asana was letting out deliriously sweet moans with a completely melted look on her face. Ah, I'm coming. Yes. Kirito. I shoved myself into asana. I released all the pent up sensations that I had stretched to the limits. Asana. Ah, 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 I could feel my hot sperm gushing deep into asana as she trembled in yet another climax. 2 years worth of semen made a glopping noise as it flowed endlessly into asana. Every time my penis twitched, fireworks would go off in my head. After receiving all that I had to give her, Asana as she fell on top of me. I gently embraced Asana while she continued to gasp and convulse as if she was being stimulated by the fluids inside her body as my consciousness dimmed. The end. that that's the
Gappy,
end. Yes,
you're our hero.
I didn't deserve this, but at the same time, I asked for this.
You died for our sins.
Uh, is that what you posted in the? Is that
Manga.
the adaptation of that?
It's not. I don't know if it's an adaptation, but I'm pretty sure it's based off of it.
Oh dear God.
Don't worry, it's in pictures. You don't need to read it.
Okay. Well, Tart, that was my bedroom voice, but that wasn't even the bedroom voice's final form.
Uh,
Its final form is essentially the same thing, but louder when there's no one else home.
oh wow. Done.
I'm pretty done.
I still can't fucking.
Rowler, I'm so sorry.
For my first time, it was really stupid, but this time I'm not laughing as much.
Am I gonna have a career? Is someone gonna hire me to do audiobooks for something like 50 Shades of Grey or something?
Yes. Who has a copy? Who has a copy?
Oh my God, bisexual gal, you missed everything.
I think she's lying. She's lying. Read the
Jeezy,
ending
Jeezy,
again.
Jeezy, please tell me you recorded that.
Yeah. No. Yeah,
Love
It's
is
over.
over.
Love,
Love is over.
love is over. Stretch to the limits. Asana. Ah, ah. I can feel my hot sperm gushing deep into asana.